it's Lynnea, and today is the reveal of the Scrapping for Less April 2019 Flavor of the Month card kit. The theme is Spring Critters, and let's jump right in. So I'm starting with collection 1, and I'm using sketch number 4. And for this video today, I did pretty much keep most of the sketches as is. I found that the sketches were really easy to work with, so that's what I did. So here we go. I'm working with the Just Because stamp set by Sunny Studio Stamps. Super cute. I love these little bees and the beehive. And this card I think is my favorite that I made today. So I stamped them with some alcohol marker safe ink onto heavyweight cardstock. And I'm just going to go in and color these little bees. And because they're small, they're super easy to color. So I just did some yellow, a little bit of coral for their cheeks. And for their wings, I'm actually just going to flick on a light blue color and then leave the tops white. So it just has that little bit of shading but those wings still kind of look translucent. To do the black, I'm actually coming in with shades of dark gray, and I'm just going to blend two together so that it looks black. And then I'm all done with the bees, and I'm going to move on to the beehive. And I'm using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. So anytime you see, I'm going to try to keep those markers up in the top left-hand corner there. But these markers have a dark, a medium, and a light shade. So I usually start with the dark and then blend to the medium and then to the light. Sometimes I go right from the dark to the light if I want there to be more contrast. But for this little beehive here, I'm using the gold brown blend, and I'm just going in with the dark around where there should be shadows, and then with the medium, and then I'll just blend out with the lightest. Super easy. You don't have to think about your color blends. And there are the actual colors listed on the marker, but I usually just list the color blends, and I just find that easy to do that way. So I'm using my black ink again to have these little dashed trail marks, like the buzzing marks I call them. And I stamped those onto my die cut piece of cardstock here. And then I'm just going to start adhering everything down. And for the most part, I used tape runner adhesive. Sometimes I used liquid glue. I just really used whatever I had closest to me to start gluing everything down. These sketches don't have the measurements on them, but I actually don't measure anything anyway. I just kind of eyeball it. I look at the sketch and kind of just chop down my cardstocks until I think it looks like how it should be. So for that little strip at the bottom, it looks like the sketch calls for cardstock, but there's this cute little yellow American Crafts ribbon included in the first collection, and I wanted to use that, so I stuck that down, and I had actually already glued my cardstock down, but I had enough time, it wasn't completely dry yet. I carefully peeled it up and then added some ribbon, and then I'm going to tie a bow where that little circle in the bottom right should be. I'm not going to make you watch me fuss with this bow because that took me longer than actually making the card. So to do the little banners, I just cut off little like rectangles and trimmed the bottoms into a banner end. And I don't have any string or anything. I just popped them up on foam squares and arranged them how I thought I would want them to be. I debated over whether or not to add that bow. I'm not really a bow person with ribbons, but I thought that having that bow on the bottom right balanced out the banners in the top left. I'm going to add some shimmer from my Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen, and then that is it for this card using collection 1 with sketch 4. Oh, I lied to you. I'm going to use some glossy accents on the wings and on the heart on the little beehive. I thought that just added a cute little touch, and because I used very little glossy accents, it doesn't take very long to dry, so it's just like that little extra touch that your recipient is going to think that it's cool, but it doesn't really take you a lot of extra time. So let's move on here to collection number 2, and I'm using sketch 1, and again, I didn't measure. I think that this strip coming down the middle, the craft ended up being about 3 inches, and then I cut the pattern paper down to be a little bit less wide. And I'm just kind of using tape runner adhesive to glue everything together. These papers are from Gina K Designs, their Journey of the Heart papers. They're super pretty. I love this dark floral, and with the music notes, I just thought that the contrast really worked together. You saw me have the checker pattern cardstock. It was blending in with those floral backgrounds, and I was not willing to give up my floral background paper, so I just switched over to some craft cardstock, which, by the way, is not included in the kit, but I just grabbed some from past kits because my obsession lately is craft cardstock, and I use it all the time when I use these kits. So I actually had some extra left, so I used that. So this is my card. I added a couple little enamel dots, and that completed my second card, collection 2, with sketch 1. Okay, so let's do collection 3 here. This is where I started struggling for some reason. Have you guys ever had a mental block where you look at all these pretty things and you think, oh my goodness, they're so gorgeous, and you can't make anything gorgeous. You have all these pretty things, and for some reason when you put them together, they don't look pretty anymore. That was me for this card. So I'm using sketch 2, and you can see this clutter and this mess on my desk, and I tried so hard to get things to work, and they wouldn't work for me. I don't know why. I hope that happens to you. I hope it's not just me. But anyway, I loved this yellow floral paper with this blue arrow background, and I tried to get everything lined up. I'm trying to use my T-ruler. I can't figure out why things aren't lining up straight. My T-ruler's upside down, so it wouldn't you know how there's that little notch that you're supposed to line the ruler up with along the side of your paper? I couldn't figure out for the life of me why it wasn't lining up. It was upside down. So that was me. It was just a real struggle for me when I was making this card. You can see my 3-year-old son is there to my right. He's helping me out. He thought I would need my scissors, and in the end, he actually sat on the floor and just cut up some pieces of computer paper. He likes to craft with me, so I hope you don't mind when he makes his little appearances here. So anyway, I ended up switching, and I'm using the Spring Fever papers by Scrapping for Less, and I ended up switching and using this cactus, and I ended up really liking how the card turned out. So if things aren't working for you, just keep going, and I find that eventually things work out beautifully in the end. So this is collection 4, and I'm going to be using the Just Ducky stamp set by Scrapping for Less. This little duck is so cute. I love ducks. My son loves ducks. So this is just a super cute stamp set. I love this little duck in the umbrella. I already die cut a circle, and I'm just going to again stamp that little ducky, and then I'm coloring with my Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers again. I find that I go in kind of cycles. If you've watched my videos for past kits, I was on a really big watercolor kick, and I was using watercolor markers. And then for this kit, every single thing that I colored, I'm actually using alcohol markers. So, you know how trends change, my interests change too, I guess. So maybe next time I'll go back to the watercolor, you never know. Anyway, I'm just using those Tri-Blend markers again, and again, just adding dark where there should be shadows, coming in with a medium, blending it out, and then a light. This yellow just wasn't dark enough for me, so I decided to go in with the lightest shade of my orange and blend it out with my darkest shade of the yellow, and that actually deepened that yellow color and gave me the color that I was really looking for. So I do encourage you to mix and match your colors to kind of get the combinations that you want. To make this ducky kind of stand out a little bit, because I thought that it looked a little bit plain, I grabbed my brown gray blend, and I'm using the lightest color, which I think is actually BG2 in the Spectrum Noir family, and I am just tracing around that little ducky image, and that kind of gives him a shadow and helps him to stand out from the cardstock. So I'm using the sketch there, and I don't measure, but I think this little blue strip is about 3/4 of an inch, and then this yellow strip is about an inch wide. I cut both ends into a banner, and I'm just using my T-square ruler to make sure everything is straight. I popped up that little ducky, and added some sequins, and this card is done. So this was collection 4 using sketch 3. I love that plaid paper, don't you? I thought it was super awesome. So for this card, I'm actually going to be using the stamp set from the Banana Split level. So every month, Scrapping for Less has 2 different kits. The regular one, where you get the 4 collections, and then the Banana Split, where you get an extra pack of goodies. And the extra pack of goodies has a bottle of multi-medium matte by Ranger. There's washi tape, a banner die, but the sentiment stamp by Scrapping for Less is super cute, and it has coordinating stamps for this little froggy stamp set, for the Just Ducky stamp set, for the bees, like everything that you could want. It has little punny accompanying sentiments. So since I didn't use the Totally Terrific stamp set from collection 3, I thought that I would use it because I really like the sentiment that goes along with this stamp set. So I'm coloring the frog to be a light green, then I'm coming in with kind of like an olivey green for the lily pad. And for the water, I'm going to just use like a blue turquoise color. So this is from the collection 3, the Spring Frog stamp set. But I'm also using some stuff from collection 4. I have the cloud stickers by Sticko that I showed just a couple minutes ago, and I put that onto a piece of white cardstock and trimmed around it because these stickers are translucent. And I have this polka dot paper from collection 3, and I didn't like how the polka dots were coming through the cloud. So I just backed it with some white cardstock and then used my scissors to trim right up against the sticker, no problem at all. And that way I have something that you can't see through anymore. I'm using some liquid adhesive just to glue down my banners, my pattern paper strip there, and the lily pad, and I'm also going to use some liquid adhesive on my cloud. I'm popping up the frog with foam squares just so that he stands out a little bit. And then this is going to finish up my little bonus card using that sentiment from the sentiment stamp by Scrapping for Less. I just love that. Don't let life's puddles get you down. I thought it was super cute. So let's quickly take a look at all 5 cards that I made today. We'll start with the first one, collection 1, using that cute little bee stamp. Collection 2, I love that floral paper from Gina K Designs. Collection 3 has that cute little cactus, and that's part of the pattern paper. You just cut up that little piece and you can make a bunch of those cards. Collection 3 with the ducky, or collection 4 with the ducky, and then that bonus card with the frog. So I encourage you to head over to my blog to see some still photos and get some more information, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye!